Okay, so strategy. Oh yeah, it's backwards on the live stream. It's gonna be interesting. All right, problem number one found. So, in my perspective, the idea is to build off of what we talked about yesterday and talk about strategy. Because the problem we all have is taking our political vision and turning it into something that doesn't lose money. This is what makes what we do different from political activism or militancy, as we say in Spanish. If I want to lose all of my money for a political cause, I have many opportunities to do that. They're all very good projects. We support them, we love them, we participate in them. But a cooperative, by definition, needs to be able to be a viable business in the market. It's a big problem for everyone. So we don't have an extension cord? Maybe? Maybe? Okay, all right. So the three things we're going to talk about: what does this strategy look like for platform cooperatives, competitive advantages, and what I call the gravity well framework. In Spanish, I call it modelo columpio, like a swing. And I'll explain what that means later. So strategy is a tool, like anything else. It's like a bicycle, it's like a computer. If you don't have a bicycle, it's really hard to do delivery, but you could probably go running or something. You can also have a cooperative without a strategy, but it's going to be hard.
Can you speak slow?
Not really, we have an hour and a half.
I'll make just small pause. Okay, so
the most important thing with a strategy is to fit it together with your needs and what you have. There are many good strategies. You can't do all of them. Some of them are better for you or not, depending on how your organization works. So, the basic strategy of CoopCycle. We start with examples. Why do we give a shit? This is all context. CoopCycle's strategy began as the idea that these capitalists made a bunch of effective tools. Let's steal them, remake them, put them in the hands of the workers. A lot of people... French translation problems? That's why today's a test. How many people are listening to French translation? Anton, you, anyone else?
Yes, but not
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it doesn't work if you use my phone. Like on the screen.
Oh, he's on your phone.
It's my phone.
Alright, so everyone in the world gets really, really excited about the tech platform. When I say we're stealing the tools of the capitalists and building it for ourselves, everyone thinks I'm talking about the application. And to some extent, they're right. One of the things we steal is the application. But really, it's more than that. Business models are tools made by capitalists that if they aren't, that sometimes we can take and use. We want to be careful because capitalists who are evil made them. But sometimes we can use them for our own needs. So I'm going to give a series of examples of how strategy is different based on the delivery sector. In the early 2000s and before, delivery. What did delivery look like? All of us here understand at least food delivery. We don't all work in food delivery, but we're all modern people that saw Deliveroo, saw Globo, saw Uber Eats appear out of nothing. And frankly, that's really impressive. From one year to the next year, boom, there's a whole new economy. We would love for the social economy to be able to go 1 year, boom, new social economy, right? Before all this happened, in the 2000s, delivery for food looked like family-owned Chinese restaurants and pizza restaurants having their cousin's friend deliver stuff when they weren't smoking weed. And they used phone calls and pieces of paper and physical maps to do all the logistics. What does this look like? It was local. It was very low investment, right? So anyone who had a restaurant could buy a bicycle or a used motorcycle, get some kid, get a backpack. All right, we're good to go, right? It worked on word of mouth and flyers. We have good pizza. There's lots of, you put little, like, buy 2 pizzas, you get 1 for free. The main value is that they were open all the time. In the United States, there's a joke that when you want to go out for dinner on a holiday, you get Chinese food. And it's because the Chinese restaurant is open every day of the year, 24/7. And so their competitive advantage, their big thing that they offered to the world was, I'm open whenever you're hungry. It doesn't matter. It's 2 a.m. on Christmas. Wait, I confused those 2 different. So the thing is, this is an effective strategy. If you're in 1990 and you're a Chinese restaurant, in the market that exists, this is an effective way to make money selling your food by delivery. Then in the 1990s and the early 2000s, the pizza franchises really started getting going. Telepizza, Domino's, Pizza Hut. The characteristics here, it's a franchise model. What a franchise means is we made a marketing strategy, designs, a way to make the pizza. Right? Every Domino's looks the same, right? And we sell it to you. Like Quantan over here wants to be a pizza entrepreneur, but he doesn't know marketing or how to make pizza or anything, but he has like 10,000 euros. And so we sell him a package, and then he has to replicate it. How does the model work? There's a really high investment in marketing. If you look at the yearly report of Telepizza, which I don't suggest you do, I do that because I'm a dork. About 20% of their costs are marketing. So everyone here runs a business. Can you imagine 20% of your income directly going to marketing? No. Impossible for us. For us, 20% is marketing. Centralization of basic food production and process design. So if you go into one Domino's in New York City, it will look identical to the Domino's if you go in Milan. The same. And moreover, where they get stuff from looks the same. There's a central dough production facility in Italy, and a central dough production facility for the entire east part of the United States, where they make all of the dough, all of the pepperoni, all of the everything, and it looks the same in both places. So the food costs for them are nothing. And they've formalized low-paid work. They've made it so the process is very simple. I stand here, I put pepperoni. Next pizza, I put pepperoni. Next pizza, I put pepperoni. So they've formalized low-paid work. This is a very effective model. It's really shitty and evil, and I hate it, and it makes bad pizza. But it is a really good way to sell a lot of cheap ingredients for a lot of money. And very quickly, these people took over and reinvented an entire business model. But you can see, this is super different than this. All of the characteristics are different. There's centralization, where before there was decentralization. There's standardized processes. There's marketing. It's not that one is better than the other. They're different strategies. 2010s, the gig economy, yay! So in this case, they did a whole different thing. They took $1 billion from someone very, very rich, and they poured it into making an application that would monopolize the market. No more would there be, traditionally in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of consumers, but a lot of restaurants. You know, like this restaurant, go to the other restaurant. I don't care, fuck you, right? But what these people did was make a really big investment so that they could take over the market. They could be the middleman. So now, to do delivery, to do delivery, you need to have food, have a cousin, and a method of transportation. Now you need like a 40 pizza line and a marketing team. And now you need about 100 million euros to make an application. And then you need another 100 million euros to do marketing all over the world for 5 years.
Makes sense.
And the characteristics changed again. In Domino's, it's really badly paid and you have to be a robot, right? In Deliveroo, you're really badly paid, but you can kind of suck and do whatever you want. The delivery, it's not the highest quality delivery, right? And that's okay. It's part of the model. The fact that the delivery is bad is part of the plan. Doesn't matter. Basically, because we monopolize the marketplace with our giant investment, we can do whatever we want now. The food can be bad, it can arrive late, and it can be cold, and they maybe ate some of it. But you have only 2 options. So fuck it. So, the app isn't really what's different. In my city, Vitoria-Gasteiz, we have a wall that now has been turned into a very pretty downtown. But before, that wall was where you could either sell stuff inside or not. And if you wanted to sell stuff, you had to go inside the walls, you had to pay the government money to sell your stuff. And if you didn't, some soldiers would come out and they would stab you. Take all of your stuff. And what's happened is that these people now own the market in the same way. The application was a method to monopolize the same way that the walls monopolized my city. So it's not about the app. The app is the digital representation of a business strategy. So we want to steal the parts of this that we can, that are good, and not the parts that are bad. So what are they doing? They have marketing strategies. They have systemization of processes that deprofessionalize administrative work, and they are able to scale to cover fixed costs. So what does that mean one by one? They did good business to client marketing. It's a hard thing to do, but if you can do it well, it's really powerful, right? In fact, we all here have a lot of good reasons to do this. We're local, we're nice, a lot of us have some idea of design. Like, we naturally have a good marketing proposition. It's very simple. We're not assholes. It's a pretty good B2C marketing campaign. We should steal marketing as a capability, as a strategy, and do that well. Systemization of processes to deprofessionalize administrative work. What does that mean? So, if you are... These people hired business experts to create a really big system for how to respond to angry customers. We have bad pizza, we have bad delivery riders, and so they invested money in making client support systems. There's a flow chart on the wall of the pizza place that says how to deal with angry customers that someone was paid a lot of money to write. Yeah. And the people in the Domino's that are paid the most are the managers, who usually are the ones dealing with the most angry clients. When I worked at a pizza place, the managers, half of what they did was deal with the angry clients. Here, when I first started working for Globo, it became clear very, very quickly that their entire support staff was people from Mexico and Colombia that had no experience in this whatsoever. But because they'd made an application with a lot of very easy steps to follow, they were able to effectively do customer support. That sounds bad, right? But from my perspective, what they did was they took a very hard to do thing, very difficult to do, good customer service. They made it accessible to people with less education or less experience in that activity. That's us. That's a good thing, if we have that. If we can make doing invoices really hard, if we can have software that automates that and makes it easier for one of us who has no experience in doing the invoices, do the invoices well, that's a good thing. If someone who isn't good at customer support, we have some software, we have some process that can make them easier to do support, that's great. So what we want to do is deprofessionalize, maybe not the right word, or make accessible administrative tasks. And lastly, this one. This is not a new concept. The consumer cooperatives that Yves was talking about yesterday that come together to have cheaper food, it's the same plan. We want to come together and have technology that all together we'll be able to pay for, but by ourselves no one can do it. It's not quite the same, but it's in a historical tradition of cooperatives. But just like the wheat container that's really, really expensive, and all the wheat farmers had to band together and buy it and then pay for it over 10 years, like the application is expensive, we have to invest in it, and then over time we all have it for the rest of the future. We can classify this into things. So, 1990s, 2000s, 2010 plus, platform cooperativism. So, marketing, what did it look like? Newspapers, television, flyers. In the 2000s, everyone was very excited about websites. 2010s, applications, more than anything else. A bunch of television, newspapers, websites, but the application itself was central to everything. Human resources. Jerome, tell me when we have a better word for that. I don't know, Jerome disappeared. Also word of mouth, my cousin, right? 2000s, the website and recruitment centers started being the way. The Domino's didn't call their cousins. They called the recruitment center, and they had on their website, please work for us. The Kinoes still use a lot of applications, but also a lot of online job recruitment with platforms like Zillow or whatever, the ZipRecruiter. Organizational model, family businesses, franchise, platform business, right? Characteristics, super competitive, but differentiation based on service quality. I go to this Chinese restaurant because I tried it, I liked it a lot, and this other Chinese restaurant I went to, it wasn't very good. In the franchise model, the characteristics are that it's consolidated. Now there's less pizza businesses, and now they're the same everywhere. And we're competing on different things. Who's offering the best promotion? 2-for-1 Tuesdays, right? And then in the last one, you're competing almost entirely on who has the most restaurants on the platform, who has the most marketing, who's made a bigger wall. So useful competitive advantages. How were they competing, right? The Chinese restaurant had better service and was open all the time, so people went to it. Here, if you had more efficient franchise processes, you made your food costs go down more, your delivery costs go down more, you invested more in marketing. So, and the more marketing you spend on your website and other things, the more pizza you sell. Here, I would say the most important competitive advantage in English is called the ability to price dump. And that's when Remy in Pamplona charges 10 euros per delivery, and I come in with my investors, and I say, I'll do it for 5. And then Remy goes out of business in 6 months. And then I say, great, I'm charging 12. That is price dumping. And all of these businesses, the Uber Eats, the Deliveroo's, at the beginning they came in, they paid deliveries a lot, they asked for very little money from the restaurants, and they gave out a lot of promotions. And Just Eat said, fuck, and disappeared. And a lot of businesses stopped doing their own delivery. Stopped using My Cousin. The Telepizza, the Domino's, they said, great, I'll use Deliveroo. And then when they had all of them in, they said, great, you have to pay me more now, and the riders get fucked. It was price dumping. Okay. Does this make sense? A little bit. Sound relevant? So now, what does it mean for us, right? That was the history of bike delivery. If we were in a different industry, we wouldn't need this. My parents are architects, and they don't really need a very good strategy. They're like the Chinese restaurants. They do good work. They maybe work some hours that other people wouldn't work, and they have a livelihood, and it's all good. It's small. It doesn't have a lot. It's all working. If
You forgot that Chinese food addictive stuff inside of the food.
that does help.
Strategy.
So yeah. So if we were making a federation for local agricultural food products that we sell, well, then we have high prices, and then we have a small group of clients, and there's a lot of businesses that work like that in the social economy. That's fine. That's great. It's awesome. Food delivery and bike logistics and logistics, no. It's a terrifying market that we work in, right? And if you combine logistics with hospitality, Jesus Christ, these are two of the worst industries in the world. So that's why we're all fucked, right? We're trying to compete in a market. I mean, Seur is the Spanish branch of DPD, which is an international logistics conglomerate. Seur made in profit, I think it was 2011 was the last time I saw their data, like 900 million euros. We're competing with them. Uber has lost, I think it's over $10 billion at this point with a B. Yeah. We're competing with someone who can just light $10 billion on fire. We need to take this seriously, or we're going to have problems and they will eat us. And that's why what we do is so hard. Okay. So yeah, what does this look? Science. So this means we're in a high rivalry business. It's really easy to enter the logistics market, and it's really hard to make money. And it's because it's easy to enter. Remy is offering 10 euros for delivery in Pamplona, and he's competing both with Seur and with any dude or woman who has a van. Anyone, tomorrow, can just do a delivery for 5 euros. That's incredibly hard to compete with. So, examples of different types of industries. So this is where we are. In logistics, it's very easy to start out. That's actually good for us because lots of people start little bike logistics things. Lots of competition, and our margins are just complete crap. A medium rivalry industry. Oh, I made another right. Another example. Translation. This is a great example. If you are trying to be a translator today, it's really, really hard because the gig economy has come for translation, and there's these big online platforms where you have to compete with translators from every other part of the world. And it's a big wall controlled by a big company. Similarly, easy to start out, lots of competition, low margins. A medium rivalry industry is professional teaching. You probably need some type of a diploma, which means a lot of people, you can't just walk into a school and, hi, I would like to be a teacher. Well, depends where you are. There's some competition, but it's not like anyone with a van can do delivery type situation. And in most places, you make a decent living being a teacher. Low rivalry industry, banking. It's really hard to get into banking. You need to make a bank, you need to convince the government that you should make a bank. Like, it's really, really hard. You also probably need a lot of money if you want to be a bank. But they make a lot of money later. So, what are some consequences of all this thinking? So we now understand where we are in our environment. We're in a really, really bad environment with low margins, high competition. This is a great quote I found on the internet called, "We lose money on every sale, but make up for it in volume." Understood? It's a joke. Exactly, that's the point. It's a joke. I mean, everyone here has had a transporter come to them and say, man, I'm going to pay you really little, but don't worry, I'll give you a lot of money. I'll give you a lot of volume. Right? And if you're working for yourself, like my parents are architects, someone says, well, listen, give me a big discount, but I'll give you a lot of projects. Well, then you, by yourself, decide, well, okay, maybe it's worth it or not. But in a business where you have a point where you lose or make money, and they offer you this, more volume just means more losses, right? So this creates a situation. You make very little money for delivery. You have lots of administrative time managing annoying clients, and you have to fix lots of mistakes, do double trips, do all these things. I've seen this happen to people by accident like 20 times. I've seen multiple cooperatives die because they got in the situation without thinking about it. Before they understood their own economics, a transporter found them, said, yeah, we'll pay you €1, but we'll give you a ton of volume. It's going to be great. And then a year later, 2 years later, they're bankrupt. If you understand, we're in a sector where everyone wants to kill me, then when the transporter comes and offers you this deal, you're going to be a little more suspicious. Right? Right. I remember now. Second example of why this is important. So if we want to compete in food delivery, obviously marketing has become like the most important thing. If we want to do food delivery, we can't not do marketing. And the problem with being a platform is you have to speak to both sides. You have to speak to the restaurants and to the customers. These are very different activities. To go speak to a restaurant, you have to have someone show up who's very nice and talkable and has like a tie and convinces a restaurant to join the platform. And it's very personal, like salesman relationship. And it's hard to find those people, especially in the social economy bike messenger world. Who wants to wear a tie? It's a hard profile to find. But then B2C marketing is really hard too. It's super different, right? It's not just doing an Instagram post. It's a whole series of things that takes a lot of time and a lot of money and to understand what you're doing well. And it's not a guy with a tie. It's a whole different thing. You have to do both things well. So again, why is this important? Many people start a cooperative, they start doing food delivery, like, great, I'll work with some vegan restaurants and it'll just show up and it'll be demand. They're thinking about it as if it's like flour delivery. But if... Sure. They're applying a strategy that works in the flour section of the economy to the restaurant section, and it doesn't work because of the conditions we're in. And if we're going to do food delivery, we need to take this really seriously. gonna skip over that. Okay. I'll give a minute. Any questions? Okay. Yeah? Oh, go ahead.
Do you think there are significant differences across settings, like from the US to different European countries, or you think like the average perspective is the same?
Not that different. There's local flavor, but like the logistics sector has the same market characteristics in the US as it does in Europe.
I just have one sentence. I don't know if I understood. You have good B2C marketing ability, but you only work with last mile providers.
Right, so that was one example of. I've been in a cooperative where they had really good Instagram and really good B2C. They were just naturally kind of good at it, but they only worked with DHL, and so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
And they were doing it because it was fun, and which is great if you want to do it because it's fun. Awesome. But
You mean the work with DHL or the marketing?
it's about the fit, right? Like if you are really good at B2C marketing and you're only working with last mile providers, you're kind of wasting your ability to do good marketing.
Yes, I see that.
I would not agree with this, that there is no something like national factor. And there is a difference between many countries. And for example, in Greece, there is only one platform, only e-food, and nothing else. Now Volt tries to do this, but they are still minority. And there is also no cooperative, courier cooperative working there.
Yeah.
Because there is a totally different culture of food delivery. In this culture, every restaurant has their own couriers.
Yeah.
So it is a local factor. And
Yes.
it's really important.
There's definitely local factors in each country or even every city, and they're 100% really important. But many of them, for example, can be social or like the fact that it's a low margin, highly competitive industry that's easy to enter is true in Greece and in France. But that doesn't mean that you should be working the same way in Greece as in France.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 100%. I meant very high level.
Even inside France, probably you have to get different strategies in the cities.
For sure.
Between cities.
I mean, Paris and Nîmes are in completely different markets. But the sort of fundamental aspects of it are like the ground you're on is similar. Mostly what I hope to explain is that like the industry we're working in has a lot of fundamental characteristics that impact the way we work. It would be different if we were architects, right? And by understanding that framework, I think it's easier to make a good plan inside of your local context. But yes, you're totally right. Any other questions? Okay. So most of the first part is about why everything sucks for us. Right? We took an industry that was local and able for us to enter and work with our cousin, and now it's monopolized by a giant international Elon Musk type figure who can burn piles of money. So what do we do about that? I'm going to talk about the VRIO framework, and I'm sorry that I'm using an acronym, but it's really important. This is the way you fight back. So the model asks a series of questions. Is the thing you can do valuable? Speaking Mandarin. If I'm doing food tech in Basque Country in Spain, speaking Mandarin is probably not valuable. Maybe I like it, but it's not going to be very helpful for developing a food business in my city. Maybe with 1 or 2 Chinese restaurants. That's it. Tying my shoes. It's valuable. If I don't tie my shoes, I can't go on a bicycle. The laces will get in the wheel and I'll fall over. Is it rare? So tying my shoes, not rare. Everyone can tie their shoes now. Having an electric cargo bike. In my city, having an electric cargo bike is rare. We're like the only ones. But, next question, is it imitable? Can someone else copy me? And an electric cargo bike is very easy to copy. Someone has 10,000 euros, they go on the internet and they press buy. Now they have an electric cargo bike. Having experience as a bike messenger. It's valuable, it's rare, and it's hard to imitate because it takes people a long time to learn how to be a good bike messenger. How does dispatch work? What to do? How to put the food in the backpack so that it doesn't fall over? Flowers, what do we do with the flowers? Goddamn flowers, right? All that experience takes time to learn. If something's valuable and you don't have it, you're at a disadvantage. You're screwed. If you can't tie your shoes, everyone else can tie your shoes. Bad. You shouldn't even start. You need some training. If it's valuable and it's rare, you're at competitive parity. It means that you and some other people do some things that are valuable and are hard. So a lot of CoopCycle cooperatives are actually, a lot of messenger cooperatives are in that place. We're bike messengers, we're good at it, and we have a service that we offer. And so we're competing with this other bike messenger people. And maybe they call us and we have a better price, but then, wow, they fuck it up, so they call someone else. We're all sort of competing. If it's valuable, it's rare, and it's difficult to imitate, we have a temporary competitive advantage. So what that means is, in my city, we, for example, have experienced bike messengers, and we're good at dispatch. And so, right now, if someone else appears in my city, wants to do food delivery, it's going to be hard. For a time, they'll have to learn how to do good dispatch. They'll have to go meet all the restaurant owners. They'll have to find, it's going to be like a lot of work. But they could do it if they wanted to. So it gives me temporary advantage. Pause for translation.
Temporary advantage to go on, go forward, so then it becomes very difficult to reach you.
Yeah, exactly.
Après, c'est temporaire dans le sens où si une entreprise se crée et veut vraiment faire ça, il pourrait y arriver.
Sorry, there were question slides in the previous version of this. The last one is the O, which is, are you organized to use the advantage? So, what does this mean? If we have really, really good dispatchers, but we have 2 deliveries an hour, doesn't matter that we have a really good dispatcher. We're not using the good dispatch. We have someone who's come directly from Berlin, and they know how to do all the crazy logistics, but we have 2 deliveries an hour, then why did we hire them, right? If we have someone who's really, really good at dispatch, we should start doing a lot of really urgent, well-paid deliveries now. And then because we have a good dispatcher, we can organize them better, and it can be super awesome. So 2 examples. Good, this is a good version. We're a well-known and respected brand for local ethical delivery, and we promote food delivery locally, ethically in our city. Right. We have a good B2C marketing communication, and we're using that to have a food delivery platform that makes us lots of money. We have something that's hard, and we're using it. But if we have a fleet of electrified cargo bikes and super experienced riders capable of doing super complex routes, but you're doing just like catering where you go do, you're not using your competitive advantage. Go over. You remember this? Were you in the tag? So is it valuable? Speak Mandarin? No. But all these things are valuable. Is it rare? Well, bikes, just having a bike is not rare. But having an electric cargo bike is rare. What we want to get to is this. Local and ethical brand is one easy example. So, just to go over again, why? Right now, in my city, we have Globo. It's like Deliveroo or Uber Eats, right? And they compete with us in food delivery. But they don't compete with us in flower deliveries or the mail stuff we do or all these other things, right? If someone, if Globo, we compete with them on the fact that we are local and high quality and professional and all these things. Globo competes by being cheap. If Globo tomorrow said, I want to compete with Edelman based on their, I want a Globo, I'm going to be the local, ethical, professional, high quality food delivery platform. It would literally be impossible. I could take the CEO of Globo to our offices and train him on everything. And he would go back to Globo and he would be incapable of doing what we do because his business model isn't set up for it. He would have to recreate the entire company in order to compete with us. That's what having competitive advantage means, a long-term competitive advantage. It means that someone else can come here, try to do what I do, I can open the book to them, like, ha, here it is. And they still can't do it.
The goals are different. They want to make a lot of money
Mhm.
and they don't want to have values on that.
Mhm.
And we are on the opposite side.
Sure.
I mean, no, we want to make a lot of money, but there is another thing before, that are values.
Sure, yes, but it's not just that. Think in Spain there's a company called Koiki, which is greenwashing, right?
Yeah.
What if Koiki tried to do food delivery? Would Koiki be capable of doing what Edelman does?
No.
Impossible. That's competitive advantage, right there.
It's like our social capital.
In what sense?
It's this advantage is a capital that we have, we can use, and it's a social one because it's all those connections to the people in the places we live and work.
So that would be one thing you could put on here.
Yeah.
And
this
we
is
all
what
have
we
it,
talk about.
and there the
This
question is,
difference.
are we exploiting it or not?
Yeah.
Are we using it?
Yeah.
Right. But 100%, Globo can't recreate that either. It's impossible. So, when you think about this is pretty complex shit, frankly. And a lot of us are just starting, right, in Nemod, for example. Sorry for French pronunciation. But what we want to start thinking about from day one is like, what things can I learn how to do that is hard for other people to learn how to do well? And I want to base the business around that fact, right? If I'm really good at interpersonal relationships with people and businesses, well, then we should center a lot of what we do as a strategy around that commercial activity of me going and being very friendly. But if I am really awkward socially, and I don't like doing this, but I'm really high, I go really fast, I do deliveries really well, it's always on time, it's always great, I make a flyer. It's like, you can organize your business around that thing you do well that is hard for other people to do. So when we start off, many times we see someone else working, and we say, well, I'm going to do what they do, but do it better. It's really hard. You have to learn how to do what they already do well, and then learn to, that's really hard. It's better to say, no, what do I do really well? And I'm going to make them have to compete with what I do well. Well, yeah, that's what it's saying. So it gets to the point that having having a bike by yourself isn't enough, right? You need to do a whole series of things: invoicing, client relations, whatever it is. Some people, like we were talking yesterday, right? In Poland, it sounds like every single person does most of these things. Maybe not the invoicing, but everyone does all that stuff. That's really impressive. That's really hard to get those people and maintain them over time, right? And that allows them to do certain things in a certain way that for my cooperative would be difficult. But then my cooperative has an organizational structure to do a whole bunch of things that are really hard in a different way that lets us do things that for them would be difficult. All right, what time is it?
10:30.
Awesome. A couple case studies. I was just in Mexico, so I'm going to talk about Mexico. What characterizes the Mexican context right now? My microphone ran out of battery. For tomorrow, I need to charge the microphones. No ability to invest. People don't have money to invest in a bunch of cargo bikes and a bunch of nice cool bags or marketing or whatever. Just don't have it. Low organizational capacity. It's not like a criticism. It's just It means literally that the way that they're organized, it's very much me and my friend do stuff over here, then me and my friend over here do our stuff, and there's not a lot of organization between large groups of people. But they're all very competent, good bike messengers. I think it's important. No cargo bikes is important for the example I'm going to give. Everyone's working on single-speed bicycles with backpacks, and there's a lot of messengers with experience. Like the city's just full of people who have been doing this for a while, and maybe they're not good at the invoicing, but they've got the delivery stuff under control. So I'm now Paul. I've moved to Mexico City. I'm starting a bike messaging cooperative. What are some things I might do in order to make competitive advantages and make money in a way that other people can't copy? I have some ideas, but first I am going to ask you guys, one person, if you move to Mexico tomorrow, you have these characteristics, what would you do?
They don't have to organize and maybe offer a cargo or I don't know.
So maybe bring cargo bikes. So that would be a temporary competitive advantage because not many people have cargo bikes. You buy cargo bikes, and for the moment we're good. But the minute they get some ability to invest, they might buy some more cargo bikes.
Maybe try to understand their reality, how is it working, and try to organize this to make it more efficiency. A little bit of study first, what they do, what people need.
Any other ideas?
Create a net in between all the realities that do the same, and try to put them in contact and try to improve the communication. So one of them can buy cargo bikes, the other one can start a study project and let's improve our knowledge about this, and then they share the resources.
So experience and knowledge is a competitive advantage, and that is to share that and build off of it. Yeah.
You explained the fact that you speak maybe a lot of language, and you are quite also very educated, and maybe you can get some bigger companies to discuss with.
So if, for example, literally it was me, as a US American who fled my country, it would be pretty easy for me to put on a tie and go to big important business people and pretend that I'm a big important business person that came from the Gringo land. And we could take advantage of that characteristic I have to create jobs and then not be an asshole, hopefully. But that's something that, like, having a American business commercial actor for certain types of clients would be rare, valuable, blah, blah, blah. For other clients, they'd be like, fuck off. Science, torni. I'll trust Alessia. All right, so what happened, I was there, we talked about this a lot. And we're gonna be doing something that isn't new to some of you, I'm sure. Some of you maybe are new and aren't doing it yet. But we started with customer segmentation, using a new tech platform, I wonder what that is, and using cargo bikes. So I brought a cargo bike to a cooperative there, and I saw they were doing very urgent deliveries for not a lot of money for clients that I was like, that doesn't seem very urgent. It's phone reparation. So they're repairing a cell phone, which is like same day, but not like this minute delivery, right? So, what was the next slide I did? Yeah, so now that they had a cargo bike, we made a plan, which was we're gonna, on the platform, have pre-programmed and urgent deliveries, and what you're gonna do is just train people to put them in the pre-programmed time slot, which is 10 to 12 and 5 to 7 every day. And so then with your cargo bike, you go to the market where all these people are, and you pick up everything, and then you go and deliver them in a route. It's not that innovative of an idea. Yep. So instead of going one, deliver, one, deliver, one, deliver, which you were doing because you were on a fixie with a backpack, and you had a problem. I want to offer low-cost services because I'm not an evil capitalist. I want to work with these people. They're the local.
Ok, donc eux, ce qu'ils faisaient, c'était récupérer des téléphones réparés, sauf que vu qu'ils avaient qu'un vélo normal avec un messenger bag, ils étaient obligés de récupérer des téléphones un par un. Maintenant, ils ont un vélo cargo, ils récupèrent tous les téléphones d'un coup, et ils ont quelque chose de plus valuable.
So first thing we did, they explained everything they were doing. And I was like, great. So all of the telephone repair people are in one space? Like, yes. You now have a cargo bike? Yes. You're charging this much? Yes. Great. Do you know what your price is compared to your competitors? Well, I think that, okay, call your competitors. They're like, what? Call your competitors. So they picked up the phone, they called the motorcycle delivery company and said, hi, my name's Bob. How much would you charge me for an urgent delivery from here to there? And they were like, oh yeah, like 50. And that was like twice what they thought it was going to be. Then they went in the application, like the Uber application with the package delivery, said, how much would you charge me to go here to there? And then it turned out that they were giving a really low price for a really high quality service. Because they wanted to be good people, they want local economy, they want all these things. So the question was, how do we offer a low-cost, accessible service to these people without being assholes? So the solution is something we do in Edaman, something a lot of cooperatives do, which is you offer different levels of urgency, and you have specific times of the day when you want people to make an order and it's cheap. You take advantage of all the shops being in the same place. In my city, it's the small downtown. In their case, it's a telephone market. And you give them a cheaper price if you let me do it the way I want to do it. Then I pick up, deliver, and now we're kind of doing last mile, and we're charging maybe 4 or 5 euros a delivery, but because we did 6 in an hour, we made a lot of money. So it's not a crazy idea.
Sorry, how we make a lot of money?
Well, if you make 5 euros per delivery and you do 6 an hour, you made 30 euros an hour plus tax. Because you got them to do it all together, right? So that's a simple but effective strategy that is aligned with your economic goals and your political goals. You're offering an accessible service to the local economy, and you're not doing it in a way that just exploits you, right? But to do it, what do you need to do? You need to have cargo bikes, at least one. You need to have the ability to convince the telephone people to use this and not call you, and not use WhatsApp, and be like, oh wait, but actually 3:30, no wait, 4 o'clock, wait, never mind. You need to get them to understand that there's a different price. It's not on how fast I ride my bicycle, it's about urgency, 2 different things. And they need to maintain good service quality. If you say, it's cheap, but I'll do it today, you need to have people in your team and make sure that every day you do that day, right? You made a new agreement. So it's a good strategy, and it requires having a series of capabilities. And so now if they do this well, this is what they're trying to do now in this cooperative, a year from now, someone else wants to come in and wants to compete with them in this space. They need to get a cargo bike, they need to get a platform that differentiates all these things, they need to go talk to every telephone person, and they have to do a bunch of things that are hard and complex to do. Right? I'm using an example of La Course in Bayonne, because Alvin's not here. A number of years ago, it was an SL, a business, and they found themselves in the situation where a large transporter offered them low money but lots of volume. And a lot of incidents were created without realizing it, and but they had a good base of clients, they had space, they had bikes, and they had a well-known brand. So what do we do in this situation? And it was the situation I was talking about before. They have a lot of good things going for them. The brand was good, they had a bunch of material. Bayonne is a pretty good place to do delivery, but you're working with Chronopost, which is so they just stopped working with certain clients. Like this whole thing where we're gonna do more and more and more and more, always work with more, always fuck it. Nope. We tell these clients we're not gonna work with you anymore, and they're like, why? Like, nope, because it's hard and I don't like it and I'm tired. Done. And then they focused on getting high quality local clients because they had good local relationships, they had good business to business marketing, they had all those things. And they also added someone to the team who was an accountant, which is sometimes really important as well, especially if you're trying to make a non-profitable capitalist business into a profitable cooperative. But again, it's about focusing on what you do well. Last example we use is completely different. I've been talking a lot about strategy and how to like make this big plan. And everything's very complicated, and how are you going to compete in years in the future? Blah blah blah. A year ago, I was with Mensakas, and they didn't need a big plan. They didn't need some big, amazing competitive analysis study, whatever. There's a lot of smaller or newer cooperatives, whatever. Mensakas, what they needed was really simple. They needed more effective administrative hours, which means like they were spending a lot of time doing invoicing. But we changed the Excel, we made that easier. Right. Better optimized routes. Thank you, Alois. But the platform got better at optimizing large amounts of deliveries for people, so they started saving time, both administrative and delivery. Economic analysis. I just asked them for like 12 months of their invoices and payroll, and was like, oh look, you're losing money on Mondays. They're like, oh shit, I guess we'll try to do something different on Mondays. And then they did that. And it wasn't really crazy, just they needed to know, oh, like Wednesdays are great and Mondays we're having problems. Great, okay, let's focus on that. And capacity to invest, both in time, in money. They bought some new bikes. There was no secret here. They just like were really tired and had no money, and then they still had another meeting, and then they still bought a new bicycle anyways. And it sucked. But they did it, and now a year later, they're in a really good position. They're making money every month. They've got a good core team. Like it's going. And there'll be challenges, but we didn't need to like have a marketing expert and a strategic business consultant and sometimes we just need to get our feet under us in a solid way. And like, okay, all right, we can breathe a little bit. Now let's think about, so like now for Mensakas and things are under control, we should maybe think about the fact that we have a really big network of friends in one of the most social economy places in the world. How can we take advantage of that? But like first we had to make sure the bike wasn't falling apart in the middle of Sats. Okay, so how do we go about this? Time?
40.
All right, this should be good. So I call it the gravity well framework because the idea is that we have political values and economic necessities that oftentimes don't fit together. We want, the biggest mistake you make in the social economy is saying, I want to earn a lot of money, not charge very much to my clients because they're very nice clients. I want to offer really good service because of course I want to offer really good service, I'm a professional. And I don't want to work too many hours because, you know, we have to, quality of life, right? Also it should be very sustainable, and like no lithium battery, like we can't do everything, right? The political values and the economic necessity are real and we have to work with them. Or we should go to an NGO or we should go to political activism. So how do we do that? My proposal is we start with the political vision. Because that's where everything begins. Otherwise, we should just go make a normal fucking business. Who gives a shit? And we go through the... What?
We were talking this morning about
Okay. That was the idea. They would go and then we go through the process of making a strategic plan. If you go on Google and you say, how to make a business plan, there are, well, now it's no longer millions of blogs. Now it's millions of AI-generated shit posting. But there's a lot of examples of how to make a business plan. And it's pretty simple. It starts with what's your vision statement? And then it goes to, great, so what's your operational plan? And then it goes to, great, well, what's your, like there's a series of steps you follow. It goes from large scale to small scale, and from mission, quote unquote, to financials. It's not a bad process. It forces you to ask questions and answer them. There's a part where it says, how much money should you be making per hour to cover your labor costs, your fixed costs, and your other variable costs? And that's a really important question to have an answer to. And you get to the end, and you've got an Excel full of money stuff. And if you have a really good political project, you're probably going to have a financial projection where you lose a lot of money because you wanted to give good service and not charge very much money and be professional and earn a decent salary and all of these things. So that's normal. It's okay. Don't worry. Well, then we have to go back up, right? So, okay, the cost per hour we had, well, maybe let's change that a little bit. Maybe the amount of deliveries we did per hour was bad. Let's change that. And then we have to return back to the political vision and make sure that all the changes you made aren't turning you into a capitalist piece of shit. And you have to just keep going back and forth. And you're going to do that until you hit some middle point, some compromise that you're happy with. And that is both economically viable and part of your political project. So, one second. Define your political values. In the politics course we will have later, we ask each cooperative to create a written document that explains the political vision of the organization. Why are you here? If you want to make a lot of money, you should do something else, probably. So you're here for some other reason. What is it? That turns into clear objectives. Right. In the business plan, there's a part. It's like, year one, we want to what? We want to hit break even. We want to pay back the personal loan I gave to the business. We want to not have died. Whatever, but something that you pick. It's a big objective. So for example, what are we trying to do? We want to offer a viable alternative for local restaurants for food delivery that pays good salaries. It's pretty big. But that's no longer a political statement, right? The political statement is like, fuck Uber. Yeah? But then how do we fuck Uber day to day? Well, we offer a viable alternative for local restaurants for food delivery that pays good salaries. Okay, but how are we going to do that? That's really hard. Well, we have to identify what are the things we do well that is hard for other people, and how are we going to use that to achieve this? Right? So maybe in this case, we are really good at marketing. So we're going to tell people it's not just a food delivery platform. We also come, we take videos, we make a little thing, and we can like help your restaurant look good generally. But not marketing on TV, like Uber. No, like marketing collaboratively that you use. It's all great. Maybe it's one item. Okay, we want to do that though. What are the capabilities we need? Like we're going to need high quality messengers to do. If we want to do the professional. We want to do professional delivery. We need good couriers. We need a good commercial person who can sell the service to restaurants. And we need B2C marketing. We need a camera. We need someone who has an account with the Instagram analytics, whatever thingy thing, right? We need someone who can draw cool stuff and knows how the way the words are shaped. Fonts? How fonts work. If we don't have a camera, we can't do this, right? And you can go down. You go down in levels of detail from there, right? Okay, so how are we gonna have? We need to have low turnover of high quality couriers. It's a big one. We want good people, and I don't want to be training someone every week who's new. We want a stable group of people who do good work. How do we do that? How do we get people to stay? It was easy to get people to stay.
Good salary.
Helps. But also, like, investing in training at the beginning. Like, making an investment on day one of, like, this entire week we're going to be training. It's going to be expensive because we're paying 2 salaries. But we're going to train you, and we're going to know on day 3, instead of month 4, that this is not for you. Right? Limit delivery volume. Just saying we're not going to go crazy. Like we can do with our riders 2.5 deliveries an hour and everyone's good. If we see it going over 2.5, we just say boop. And then people are calmer, people make less mistakes, people are happy, they don't leave for other jobs. And then we don't have a good commercial agent. Great. Who is the most socially capable in our group of people? It's Lori. Great. Lori, you're going to go get trained. There's a local government program that's like how to be a commercial asshole. Like, Lori, can you go take that course, please? And then we have an operation. Great, now we have a plan, right? Okay, the plan, great. Lori's going to sign up for a class. The class is 6 months. That means we can start commercial actions 6 months from now, which means 6 months from now we need the platform ready, we need some riders, and the marketing team should be on board. Great, okay. When should the marketing team start working? If in 6 months we want... These turn to resources, right? Lordy, will we pay him when he goes to class? I don't know. But if we need to pay him, well, that's... We need bicycles, we need backpacks, we need a camera, we need...
There's one more strategy for new workers. Just stole them from other companies.
Yes, that's absolutely This example I was...
We did it, exactly. Nothing else.
Yeah, no, that's a great... In a big city where you have a lot of messengers, that is like probably the best strategy.
Yeah, but
and also you can stall them with the clients.
Yeah.
in my experience, if the people in a cooperative they don't have the same political vision and values, it's not gonna last. So I can steal people from Globo, but if they don't feel what we are doing, it's gonna break from inside.
Sure, but in his case, this is an example. He defined it would be a strategy for getting the good quality riders, right? In order to do that, the resources needed is, I bet you're pretty good at talking to experienced messengers and convincing them that working with you is cooler. And then it probably is actually cooler. Or that we wouldn't have...
And we have a fame, so it's very easy.
So you have a series of stuff, resources. Some of them is you, some of them is history, some of them is good stickers, I don't know, right? that allows you to do that, right? Which would be really hard though, with Globo's different type of messengers, right? Maybe the stickers aren't as attractive to those people, right? Like, you would need a different series of resources. Maybe it's all salary. Right? Like, no, I will pay you 50 cents for delivery more than Globo. Okay, let's go. But that's where all the local stuff is really, really important, right? Like, the sector stuff about everything's really, really competitive is like way up here. Whereas the like, how do I convince messengers to be with me? It's super different in my city than yours. That with you could work in my city, but we're 250,000 people. The only experienced messengers in the city work with us. So we have to train new ones. So now we're at the end. We've got all those financial projections about Lori's salary for going to the course. We have to buy a camera. We're going to make this much per delivery. We think that we'll make back our money in month 6. But probably, yeah, if we have a very good political project, it probably looks like this is a horrible, horrible idea. And no one should ever give us a loan. And so we have to go back and look at it. In the case of Ereman, for example, what this looked like with food delivery, it's being very food delivery focused, but this works for anyone. When we started, we had no idea how many deliveries per hour was good. We just didn't know. We just started, we worked in COVID doing food tech, and we're like, we're doing like 5 an hour. Because it was all pre-ordered. And it was all like, we have all these orders at 12, all these at 12:30, all these at 1, and we showed up at 12. They were like, here's all of your bags. And then we did a route. But long term, that wasn't viable. So we started using CoopCycle. We made a business plan, and we first made a business plan that had the wrong number of deliveries per hour. And so we had to play with, well, how much are we earning? What are we doing? And we had to go back and we had to restrict the delivery opening hours. So if we wanted to, I'll go back. We're making a business plan. And we said, we can do, maybe it's less than 5 an hour. It'll be like 4. And then we went to Ciclo in Grenoble and said, "Hey, teach us food delivery on CoopCycle." And they were like, "You're insane. You can't do 4 hours. It's impossible. Like 3 if you're really, really good. And if you do more, you try to do more than 3, you're going to burn everyone out. It's a bad idea." So,
Per person in 1 hour.
Yeah.
It means 6 places you have to visit.
Uh-huh.
They're
like, if you're going really, really good and everything's 1 kilometer away.
It depends about your town, how it's structured your city.
Yeah. So we heard that and like, great, okay. In the Excel where it says deliveries per hour, like take away 5, put 2.5, right? And everything changed. And we're like, great, well, fuck, what do we do now? So we decided to cut the delivery hours we were going to offer. We decided to use thermo boxes instead of backpacks so that we could bring together multiple orders at once. We did a series of things to try to deal with that reality without just saying, okay, well, we'll earn less money or you should ride your bike more faster. And so we went back through the up to the political thing. Okay, so I'm wrapping up, ending. An example, super awesome political vision. We want to do environmentally friendly logistics in every sector of our city, protect labor rights and earn good salaries and support local commerce. Great political project. Operational plan, we're going to start 5 different and difficult logistic businesses at the same time with no resources. Because we want to do last mile and local commerce and food delivery and also this other thing and also that other thing because we want this to be so good. Economic simulation. If we're really, really lucky, we make money in 5 years. But it turns out that actually there's a lot of administrative work we didn't think of. And it's really hard to work with this business. They keep calling us. It's super annoying. And shit, this is not going well. We assess the operational plan. Like, okay, maybe we don't do all those 5 things. Maybe we don't work with every single type of local commerce. Maybe we only work with medium to high quality clients because they're less problematic. And then once we have that under control, we can grow into the businesses that take more work. But we're not going to do all of it the first day. Okay, great. So let's go back now. Well, we have a slower political impact. Now we're not doing everything at once from day 1, but maybe it's more stable. And if it works in the future, we will be having that impact that we wanted to do. Is that an acceptable political vision? So at the beginning, it was we're going to do everything at once at the very beginning because social economy is amazing. And then we saw that means it's a lot of risk really fast. And it's probably going to explode. So we decided, well, what if we do it slower? We go back, okay, let's do it a little slower. Well, the political vision now is that we're going to have an impact maybe in 5 years, not 1 year. But our break-even point is in 2 years, not 5 years. Is that an acceptable political choice for us? And you keep going back and forth till your political vision doesn't lose your money. So, this is my talk about strategy. I don't know how much time we have for questions. Is that the computer batteries dying, or is that a question time? I'm just going to go with we have time for 2 questions. Question.